In 1993, you guys started. How old were you?
19. And I'm still 19.
Tell us, how did you guys meet up? How did the
Actually,
band get
Justin
started?
and I played under 10 soccer when we were young. So Justin and I had known each other since we were about 8 or 9. And then as we got older, we became more and more outcast and didn't fit into the rest of the world, so we were trying to find places to fit in, and we started playing music together, and it sort of worked for us. Everybody else was having parties and being cool, and we were playing music. That was when we were able to not have to get jobs when we went home from tour. That was a big thing for us, that we made enough money to pay for the van and the gas and to pay the guys who were with us and not have to get jobs.
So how long did that take you to get there?
It took us probably 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
And to be honest, at this point in our lives, we would probably still be doing it even if we had to go home and get jobs after. Like, I know a lot of guys who are friends who go out on tour and then still go home and have jobs or whatever, do other things. I would be amazed. Because when we started playing, nobody cared about punk rock. Punk rock was a dead music form. Nobody thought it was interesting anymore. There was no record companies or any of that stuff that were interested in it. So we always, and even to this day, we are always like, well, this has worked for this long, but next year we'll have to find something else to do. And luckily we haven't had to find anything else to do yet, but maybe next year. I'll be a haberdasher next year.
Okay. You said that you guys have been touring a lot.
Yes.
In your career. How does that interfere with your personal life?
Oh, it's horrible for your personal life. It's very difficult. Well, and it's gotten progressively easier as we've gotten older, because we were touring before there were cell phones and before there were, we had these little machines in the States that you bought at Radio Shack, and you put this crystal in and it would make the phone sound like it was getting money in it, and that's how we could make phone calls, or somebody would steal a calling card or something like that. So as we've gotten older, things have gotten easier, but it's still a challenge. Now, luckily none of us have had children, so that's for the children's sake and for our sake. So we are still able to live this lifestyle and travel around. But if we had kids, I think it would have changed how we've done things. I think that that culture in America and maybe around the world aligned itself. I think Anti-Flag was going on this trajectory, and then the culture just matched up with us. We've been saying, and my point is that we've been saying the same things and fighting against power for a long time, and in those years popular culture came more to what we were singing and talking about. I think that people who are older than that have jobs and don't want to go to a punk rock show and have kids. Music has always been a young person's thing. 30-year-olds aren't really interested in music in the same way that you are when you're 18 to 24. So yeah, I think that whether you're Bruce Springsteen or whether you're Anti-Flag, there's going to be a lot more young people who are interested in what you're doing than older people.
So is that why you stay 19, so you can still go to punk shows?
I'd go to punk shows if I wasn't 19. The reason why we were 19 is because we found that the punk rock community was very ageist. And if you were too young, nobody thought you had any right to say anything. If you were too old, nobody thought you had any right to say anything. So we thought it was interesting to be 19. Then nobody could say we weren't, our opinions weren't valid because we were either too old or too young. We knew we were going to get fucked. We took a lot of precautions to keep ourselves from being fucked, and actually made it out the other side in a pretty good position. The fact that we're still a band after being on a major label, usually that's the death of any band, to be able to go to a major and then come off of a major, and we were able to navigate that pretty well. So I'm actually sort of proud of the fact that we were able to go through that process and be able to come out the other side and still be an intact rock band that's doing the exact same thing it was doing before it went to the major.
But I guess money-wise, it was a step up, right?
Money-wise, it was a step up. Yes, we were able to get them to pay for a lot of projects and activism that independents wouldn't have paid for. We had we did a whole no military in schools campaign that we had them pay for. We did a lot of work with organizations that cost a lot of money that we made them pay for. It was interesting because they were afraid of us and didn't know what to do with us. So any ideas that we had, they just gave us money to do them, politically and activist-wise. So it was a pretty amazing time for that.
We sing our songs of talk your shit and thank you.
That's what my mom asks me every day. I don't know. It's,
Pat, don't you want to get a real job?
Don't you want to get a real job? Isn't it time for you to find something else to do with your life? Yeah, we've been very lucky to be able to be playing music this long, and we still really enjoy it, and hopefully we'll be here for many years to come.
So to the next 20 years?
Next, I don't know about quite 20 years, because then I'll be really fucking old then. But
You'll be still 19?
I'll be 19 and a half by then. Yeah, I don't know whether another 20 years, but another 5 years for sure.